LinkedIn's core proposition remains get found and get recruited. Keep your CV up to date on LinkedIn, make it look pretty, recruiters find you, job offers come. That's essentially their proposition. Now, if that's the case, LinkedIn surely is the most up-to-date database on the planet for accurate contact information about prospects. So how do we tap that rich, up-to-date database to generate great B2B leads?
Funnel Vision is brought to you by Math Marketing, creators of the Funnel Plan. Math Marketing is the source of the 1, 2, 3 of B2B.
Today we're going to look at LinkedIn's lead builder. Along the way we'll look at in-mails and connections and the pros and cons of each. We'll look at integrations with Salesforce, and we'll conclude by looking at using the right tool for the right job. The first question we need to ask is, whose contact details do we want? And that leads us to look at a couple of things. What problem do you solve, and who most has that problem? And these are big strategic questions that I've talked quite a lot about in other shows. Once we're clear on the kind of business and the role within the business that we should be targeting, we need also to look at one other thing, and that is the ideal client profile. What does a good prospect look like? How big are they? How fast are they growing? How are they structured? Anything else that distinguishes a really good prospect from a not so good prospect for your business. So let's get really clear first about who we're targeting. And the second question we have to look at is inbound or outbound. Now, lots being made of the power of inbound marketing. I've blogged on some of these topics recently, but this big question is, how many of our leads do we want to come inbound, and how many of our leads do we want to begin the journey with a contact where we'll initiate, because we're beginning with the right prospect rather than one that's perhaps the wrong prospect but it's shown some activity. And that's a big strategic question. So we begin with a tool called Lead Builder, and we're going to Advanced, and that begins the Lead Builder process. So certainly we can use keywords, but I'm quite clear about the roles that I want. So let's start with seniority. I want VPs, CXOs, managers, and let's go directors as well. I want them in marketing, so clearly I'm interested here in Math Marketing's interests. You'll put your own profiles in, and I want them in larger firms for this particular campaign. So let's go 1,000 and above. Okay, so I've got size, I've got the function of the person, and I've got their seniority level. Now, if I look at those results, I've got so many. But for this campaign, I only want to target a single geography. So let's go, I want them somewhere near, I'll be parochial and go Australia. How many results do we have for them? Okay, so that's a little too broad. So I want to now narrow it down by industry as well. So let's take industries, and I'm going to go through all of the industries that they offer and select only those industries that I'm interested in. This one here, the interface that I'm showing you here is fairly limited. Let me show you the way I normally do it, and I'll do that by bringing up a saved search. This is the, here's one I prepared earlier, moment. So I've actually added to this one a very large number of industries, but not every industry. It's about 1 in 10 of the industries that are offered. And now I can search for that particular group, and here's my list. And so I'm down to a much more manageable number. I've still got 358 great prospects of the right seniority. Now, I'm already connected with a good number of them, but most certainly not connected with all of them. And LinkedIn's going to rank these by their proximity to me, so how closely I'm connected to them. These are all still first level connections. Now we're going to first, second level connections. Clearly these people I'm not connected with, but could well be, but for one connection. So there we have it, 358 names that meet the profile within the geography, right seniority, right role, and right geography. So I've got all these great names, but what now? Am I going to connect with all of them? Well, they're strangers. We should be connecting with people that we actually know. Am I going to send them an in-mail? That is LinkedIn's version of an email. Well, I'm only allowed 15 in-mails a month. And frankly, again, in-mails are relatively cold. LinkedIn is not a great batch and blast cold calling tool for volume. So how actually should I be using all of these great names? Well, I can use a tool like SalesLoft and I can scrape all of these names, or at least 300 a month of these names, into my Salesforce.com integration. That sounds like a great idea, but again, these names are just cold names. For sure, they've been researched a little, but really they've just been filtered. And the sort of filters that I've just gone through, you can get with any list building solution. You go to a good list provider and they'll offer you those same filters. So frankly, what have I really got that I couldn't get for about $1 a name from the list vendor? We need to use the right tool for the right job, or horses for courses. I'm going to show you now how I believe we should be using LinkedIn. So, my core conclusions today: use social for social, not for spam. Reach out selectively. So of those targets or those leads that you found, who do you most want to target? And when you answer that question, research them carefully, thoroughly, and be social. Use search and other inbound methods for your volume. Next recommendation would be to prioritise new movers. Now, I posed the point just a second ago that we should be selectively reaching out. The question invited from that is, reaching out to whom? How do I select who's on, who's off? I would recommend prioritising new movers. Anybody who's new to a role wants to make a difference, and frankly, they've probably been hired to make a difference. So the new broom is a great contact. Focus on people who've just moved into the role. Connect with your genuine connections. Only connect with people that you know. But the flip of that is connect with everybody you know. If you know them, you should be connected with them on LinkedIn, because when they move, you get great alerts from LinkedIn to say that they've moved, and you can reach out very personally because you know the person, wish them well in the new role, and discuss how you can help them get traction in that new role. Share relevant content as posts on LinkedIn so that all of your connections see you making a genuine difference and leading the dialogue around the topic that you're an expert in. Respond also to posts of your connections. Keep an eye on your timeline, and if any of your connections, remember you're only connected with people that you know, but if any of those people offer posts and it's relevant and in an area that you have expertise, comment, even if it's just to encourage them, congratulate them, or maybe offer a point of difference. And finally, as I've already alluded to, track their movements. Anybody that you've connected with and built a relationship with, when they move, you should move with them. So that's it. Well, actually, kind of. I've got in the habit of late of doing a tooltip, and I have got a great tooltip for you now. Well, this week's tooltip is, well, LinkedIn. That's what we've just been talking about, and it is a great tool. Not for spamming, but for research. The person who you've identified and you do want to reach out and make contact with, whether they're brand new to you, already known to you, you can do some fantastic research. How long have they been in the role? How long were they in the prior role, and what was it? Who was their predecessor in this role, and how long did they last? And what have they moved on to? Who else is in the same company? All of this information can give you great insights to find out some hint, some sense of the presence of the problem that you solve better than anybody else. And that's what you should be talking about. But do your homework first. So my tooltip is use LinkedIn as a powerful research tool.
If you enjoyed this blog, then likely you will enjoy others. If you haven't already, you can subscribe to receive this blog by visiting mathmarketing.com/blog or by visiting our YouTube channel. If you have a colleague who may be interested, we would be so grateful if you invited them to subscribe. Why don't you do that now? And when you come back, we'll show you how we do that in Funnel Plan.
As you know, Funnel Plan is a great way to get sales and marketing to agree and capture the objectives, strategy, velocity and tactics that they're going to use together to earn the right to serve new businesses. Clearly we're talking about the very beginning of the buyer's journey, finding new names, and that's right down here. We already have LinkedIn Lead Builder as a tactic. Only problem is that the LinkedIn Lead Builder goes nowhere, so anybody reading this funnel plan wouldn't quite know what we're going to do with LinkedIn Lead Builder, where it sits in the context of other tactics. And we also agreed to add LinkedIn as a research tool. So we're going to make some very small changes in the funnel plan now. Let's go into tactics. And the first thing we're going to do is to add using LinkedIn as research. We're going to use LinkedIn to research the likely problem for each task. Next thing we're going to do is to add a connection to that new research tactic, and we're going to make a minor change from the LinkedIn Lead Builder. So firstly, let's add a connection in. Go from LinkedIn Lead Builder to cleanse and dedupe. And we're going to add in another connection from cleanse and dedupe to use LinkedIn to research. And finally, we're going to modify a connection, because you may remember that there was a connection going from cleanse and dedupe through to the next stage in the buyer's journey. We now want to go from the LinkedIn research to that same tactic. So here we go. We've got cleanse and dedupe goes to enjoin the gatekeeper. We now want to go from use LinkedIn to enjoin the gatekeeper. Small change. Let's now take a look at the PDF and how that presents. So there you have it, small changes, but LinkedIn Lead Builder now leads to the cleanse and dedupe and then to the LinkedIn research, which in turn leads to enjoining the gatekeeper with our outbound VBR that we spoke about in the previous blog. Hope that helps. Now, I spoke about inbound techniques, and so in next week's show, I'll talk about mastering long tail search. Until then, may your funnel be full and always flowing.